A 41 years old African man living in Oxford in the United Kingdom was yesterday sentenced to 10 years in prison for committing one of the most appalling crimes against a young person. The saddest part of this brother story is that this guy has lived in the United Kingdom for many years and he has no previous conviction. This brother, until recently, he was described as somebody who has been an anti-racism campaigner. This guy was doing very well. He had a degree and he was working in a job that he was described as a positive role model. I am sharing this story not to scare anyone, but to educate people from our community on some of the pitfalls that immigrants fall and how to avoid them. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. I can see we've got somebody joining us from Atlanta, Georgia. Today, we are sharing the story of an African guy who was yesterday sadly sentenced to 10 years behind bar. For those seeing my face for the first time, I am your brother and only, Francis. On the Lunch Club, we share educational content to educate people from our community. Let's dive into the story. This brother has been in the United Kingdom for many years. He originally came to the UK. He fight asylum. It was a battle for his asylum to be granted. The UK government attempted to remove this guy from the United Kingdom, several attempts. It got to a point where the French airline, which they've already chartered to remove this guy back to his home country, they refused to carry him. They said the guy, he wasn't mentally stable to be deported back home. Eventually, after push forward and backward, the United Kingdom government eventually granted this brother asylum to remain in the UK. The guy in question, the guy was working and doing very well. He was seen as a positive role model. After that event, the brother said he wanted to contribute to the story of those who are being, by the way the government was treating some immigrant. And eventually this brother joined the movement to stop the deportation of immigrants. As you can see, this is the brother that was sentenced yesterday. His name is Aniset Mayela. He is from Oxford in the United Kingdom, and sadly, he was jailed. I'll dive into what led to this brother, why he was jailed yesterday. I want to know what your views are in the comment section. This is the brother when he was campaigning against anti-racism. As you can see here, this brother, this was him, Mayela, protesting outside Compassfield House Detention Center in Kidlington. And you can see on his neck is got a badge that says, "Migrants are not criminal. They are human beings who just want a better life." That is where the brother, when he was doing his anti-racism campaign, sadly, this brother, he was married. His wife was diagnosed with cancer. The wife sadly passed away from cancer not too long ago. The brother was experiencing depression and he resorted to start abusing alcohol. I am making an appeal. Too many people in our community are struggling with one form of mental health or not. Please, if you are feeling low, if you're feeling if you're feeling unmotivated, you struggle to get up in the morning, please, it could be signs of depression. Speak to a professional, because this brother he has never had any criminal conviction. He's never committed crime before. Sadly, our brother has now ended up in a situation where he's going to be spending the next 10 years behind bar for what he has done. The saddest part of this brother's story is that when his wife died, he resorted to alcohol and depression. He was suffering with depression. He was abusing alcohol, using alcohol as a coping strategy to deal with the trauma that he had experienced. A lot of migrants move abroad, the trauma of migration. A lot of us, we carry undiagnosed trauma, the trauma of migrating from a predominantly Black society where you have your support network, you are attached, you have all you know the system, and you move to a society where you uproot everything that you know to a place where you face hostility, racism, and other form of thing. Sadly, many of us are walking around with undiagnosed mental health. We need to speak out and seek help. This brother, that he was seen as a role model, one fateful night, he was so drunk to the point that he did not know what he was doing. He sexually assaulted a minor. He abused a 15-year-old girl. Sadly, the 15-year-old girl, she became pregnant. When she became pregnant, this brother, the note was seen in this young girl's bag saying that she wants to terminate the pregnancy. This brother, he was arrested. Initially, he denied causing any injury, denied responsibility for the pregnancy. Can you imagine somebody who is an economist, somebody who has never committed crime? How did his life went from high-flying, focused, ambitious young Black man to the point where he's now found himself? Some people say the trauma, but there is no excuse, and that a crime has been committed. A 15-year-old girl has been sexually assaulted. That child could have been your child. It could have been my child. It could have been your niece. The brother initially pleaded guilty, but eventually he denied. The case went to trial. When the case went to trial, the Crime Prosecution Services laid the evidence before the judge, and they said the judge looked at the evidence. When the trial started, they were hoping that this brother would accepted what he has done and accepted responsibility for what he has done and not let the case go to trial. The brother initially changed his mind. As when he changed his mind, the judge then ordered that the full trial should be held. And later, the judge said, Mayela, for what he said, what you did is a terrible offense committed. Is guilty. It is the victim first sexual experience. The child in question, she was a virgin when this guy caused this misery to this young girl, which resulted in the 15-year-old child being pregnant. The guy continued to deny it. He said, you are responsible, but the guy denied responsibility. I want to know what your views are in the comment section about this situation with this guy. He said mitigation in this case is limited because the brother did not accept responsibility. The brother said he did not do it. Sadly, as we're speaking today, we don't know. We haven't heard from the guy, but from what we've heard from his legal team, the judge said the brother did not show any remorse. This guy is thought to be a former economy student, and he was a former secretary of a company. The brother throughout the trial was crying in the dock. He covered his head. He said this brother, why he did not accept responsibility, he struggled to come to terms with his life. And sadly, this young brother, he's going to is going to be on the sex offenders register forever. Let us look at this brother's journey. This is a brother who came to the United Kingdom. He sought asylum. He was granted. The brother then was studying economist. He became the secretary of a company, and this brother became an anti-racism campaigner, campaigning against the treatment of migrants. From somebody who has no criminal record, who was doing so well, how did our brother Mayela ended up in this situation? His wife died. He was suffering from depression. The wife died from cancer, and the guy spiraled out of control. Maybe if his wife hasn't died, the brother would not have ended up where he ended up today. Some people said the wife's death contributed to the situation that the guy found himself. Some people are saying that it is not the wife's death, is not an excuse. If you know anyone who is suffering from depression or any form of mental health, please kindly advise them to seek help. Among our community, the Black community, we see that we have this stigma about talking about mental health, especially men. We feel that when we expose our vulnerability and tell people, it means that we are not strong men. This guy has ruined his life now. His name is going to be on the sex offenders register for the rest of his life. He's going to spend 10 years behind bar. The saddest part is that a 15-year-old girl who was a virgin at the time that she met this guy, this 15-year-old girl, she was raped and she became pregnant, and this brother has destroyed this girl's life. The brother, throughout the trial, he was absolutely crying. He did not, the judge said he did not show remorse. The question that a lot of people are asking, how did a young man who had no previous conviction, who was doing very, very well, he was a secretary of a company, ruin his own life now? That is the saddest part of the story. Let me know in the comment section what your views are about this brother who is going to be spending the next 10 years behind bar. Don't forget, there are lessons that we can all learn from this story. And one of the lessons that I personally have learned from this story is that in life, we will all face tribulation. But when you face tribulation, you do not resort to using alcohol as a coping strategy. If this brother had not, if he wasn't so drunk on the night that he met this young girl, maybe he would not have done what he did. The saddest part of it is that the young man who had promising future has ended up destroying everything that he has worked for now because of one moment of madness. Make sure, if you've seen any value in this content, please kindly give the video a like. More people, especially from our community, needs to see it. Let me know in the comment section your explanation of possible causes of this brother's action. The reality is that this brother, the next 10 years, is going to be behind bar for what he has done to this young